Have you ever stayed silent not out of fear, but because you were in control? There are storms within that no one sees, but the way you stand firm in them silences the world. Real strength doesn't lie in what you say, but in what you refuse to reveal. Life, in its rawest form, is a battlefield, a constant dance between what you show to the world and what you keep buried inside. And in the midst of that chaos, there's a quiet force more powerful than any shout silence. Control, the moment everyone expects you to break and you don't, even flinch. But true strength isn't just about surviving the storm, it's about wielding the storm, knowing how to stand tall in its face, and ultimately becoming someone no one can read or break. Not because your perfection is an illusion, but because your strength is mental, emotional and spiritual, forged not by avoiding pain, but by facing it, embracing it, and using it as fuel for growth. The more you reveal, the more others know where to strike. The more you hide, the less vulnerable you become. People spot weakness in our lowest moments, and once they see it, they exploit it. When you let them see your cracks, you give them power over you. Don't get me wrong, being human is a gift. Our flaws, our wounds, our softness, they're signs that we're alive, that we feel deeply. But true strength doesn't come from falling apart, it comes from rising after the fall. It's in how you respond to pain, not in how you avoid it. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action." What stands in the way becomes the way. It's in those exact moments of pressure when life seems unbearable that our character is revealed. Will we break, or will we transform the obstacles into stepping stones? Strength takes time. It's built slowly, layer by layer, in silence, in discipline, in those quiet moments when you choose not to let the world see you shaken. The world doesn't owe you an understanding. No one deserves the power to interpret your pain. You are the architect of your emotional fortress. And if they see you weak, they'll assume you're vulnerable. And that's why learning to control, not to hide, but to grow, is the next step. The world doesn't need to understand your pain, and you should never hand them that power. So, here's the real question: will you control yourself, or let others control you instead? When people see your vulnerability, they often begin to assume your entire foundation is fragile. That's why self-control is not just useful, it's essential. Not control over others, never that, but control over your emotions, your reactions, and most powerfully, your silence. Picture this: you're standing still while chaos erupts all around you. The world spins in noise, yet your heart remains calm because deep inside, you know that no matter what happens, you will rise. Imagine being in a room full of people rooting for your downfall, and yet you stand there with grace, with quiet power, with a strength they cannot understand. The moment you let your emotions take over your actions, you give the world a blueprint. To your weaknesses, emotional outbursts, flaring anger, visible hurt, these are signs people read. And when they can read you, they can predict you, control you, they sense opportunity, and once they do, they strike. Think back to your most vulnerable moments. How often did you let others witness them? How many times did your emotions surface, only for someone knowingly or not to take advantage of your rawness? That's the danger. Vulnerability is power, but only when used strategically. When exposed recklessly, it becomes your soft spot, your Achilles heel. Don't forget, silence is not weakness, it is disciplined strength. The ability to sit in a room full of tension, conflict, and noise and not react is something only a few can master. But why do we react in the first place? Because we seek validation. We want someone to understand, to acknowledge our pain. We want to be seen. But here's the brutal truth: the world doesn't care. It owes you no empathy, no explanation, no understanding. And the moment you realize this, you see the futility of seeking approval. Every time you react, you're telling the world, you can move me, you can shake me. But the day you stop seeking validation, the day you become at peace within yourself, is the day you begin to tap into real power. When you're no longer affected by others' opinions, when you're unbothered by their expectations, that's when you taste true freedom. We talked about freedom, the kind that comes when you no longer seek validation, Now that you're stepping into that power, remember this: the greatest strength is not in shouting to be heard, but in knowing you don't need to prove anything at all. The most powerful force you can ever possess is inner emotional strength. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that simply is. It's not about being indifferent to people, but about being so grounded in yourself that you don't need anyone to see your pain to feel real. True strength doesn't cry for recognition. It doesn't tremble under pressure. It's that calm, steady presence that stays unmoved when the world throws fire at you. It's the ability to walk through the flames and come out untouched. That is real resilience. And yes, revenge is tempting, isn't it? When we're betrayed, hurt, or wronged, there's a natural urge to strike back. But the truth, revenge drains your energy. It's like running in circles, burning fuel, going nowhere. When you chase revenge, you give your enemy space in your mind. You give them emotional leverage. And in doing so, you weaken yourself. Instead of trying to hurt them, focus on healing and elevating yourself. Use your pain as fuel to grow stronger, to rise above, to become someone they can no longer reach. Let them see not the one they broke, but the one they can never break again. That's where self-discipline enters. It's about controlling every aspect of yourself, your thoughts, emotions, and responses. Not suppressing your feelings, but processing them with clarity, allowing them to pass, and refusing to let them own you. Discipline is the art of choosing your reaction, not acting on impulse. It's the ability to remain composed even in moments of pain, and to never let anyone see you at your weakest. Because when they do, they often believe they've won. And that perception alone gives them power. So instead, stand firm. Let your silence be louder than their noise. Let your stillness speak of strength. You are your own fortress. And once you realize no one can harm you without your permission, you unlock true freedom. From this point forward, never let anyone see you weak, not because you're pretending to be invincible, but because you've learned when to show vulnerability and when to keep it sacred. That is strength. That is growth.